Before life breaks a person, their inner voice usually does it first. Not all at once, not dramatically, quietly. It starts with one sentence: I am not good enough. Then another: I always mess things up. Then another: people like me do not win. And after hearing that voice long enough, you stop calling it a thought. You start calling it your personality. That is where the danger begins. Because the most toxic relationship some people have is not with a parent, a partner, a boss, or an enemy. It is with the voice they wake up with, the voice they work with, the voice they pray with, the voice they build with, the voice they sleep beside every night. And the tragedy is this: they think it is normal. They say, I want to get in shape, but the voice says, you always quit. They say, I want to build something, but the voice says, who do you think you are? They say, I want love, but the voice says, nobody really stays. They say, I want to start the business, but the voice says, wait until you are ready. So the dream does not get murdered in public. It dies in private. It dies under the weight of repetition. It dies because the person slowly becomes loyal to the insult. And then they call it realism. But it is not realism. It is conditioning. This is not motivational fluff. This is not about standing in the mirror and pretending everything is fine. This is about the architecture of your inner world. Because there is an old image that explains it clearly. When a fish gets sick, you do not treat the fish. You check the tank. Your brain is the fish. Your mind is the tank. And most people keep treating the fish. They buy another journal. They download another app. They make another vision board. They watch another podcast. They start another routine. But the tank is so full of shame, fear, comparison, resentment, self-disgust, and old voices pretending to be truth. So the fish keeps getting sick. This is why a polluted inner dialogue is so destructive. You cannot keep poisoning the water and then wonder why peace will not grow there. Some people think self-hate is discipline. It is not. Discipline says, get up, we have work to do. Self-hate says, get up, you worthless piece of nothing. One builds strength. The other builds trauma with a productivity mask. Accountability is sacred. If you failed, admit you failed. If you avoided the work, admit you avoided the work. If you broke your own word, be honest about it. But do not turn a behavior into an identity. Do not say, I failed, therefore I am a failure. Say, I failed, therefore I have information. That one shift can save a life. Because the voices you rehearse trains what you notice, what you avoid, what you attempt, and what you believe is possible. If the inner voice says you are not enough, you will sabotage the room before you enter it. If it says you always quit, you will hesitate before the first step. If it says you are too late, you will bury the gift before it ever has a chance to breathe. This is why every great wisdom tradition warns us about the mind. The Buddha points to the suffering that comes when we mistake thoughts for reality. The Stoics reminded us that we are not disturbed only by events, but by the meaning we attach to them. Christianity speaks of renewing the mind. Hindu wisdom points to the witness behind the thought. Different doors, same temple. Do not let a wounded voice become your God, because the darkest thoughts are not always loud. Sometimes they sound responsible. Stay small. Be realistic. Do not try again. Normal is safer. You have already missed your time. But normal is not always safe. Sometimes normal is just a cage with carpet. Maybe there was a time in your life when fear sounded like wisdom. Maybe you stayed in the smaller version of yourself because it felt safer than being seen. Maybe you delayed the business, avoided the conversation, ignored the calling abandoned the dream, or kept waiting for a confidence that never arrived. And maybe, if you are honest, the problem was not that you had no vision. The problem was that an old voice kept convincing you that becoming more would cost you too much. But many thoughts are not revelations. They are echoes: a parent's disappointment, a teacher's label, a betrayal, a rejection, a childhood moment your body still remembers, a culture built on comparison, a success system built on shame, and now the echo is wearing your face. That is why awareness is the first act of freedom, not positivity. Awareness, because the more conscious you become, the less obedient you become to cruelty. So here's the practice. First, catch the voice. Do not fight it yet. Just notice it. There it is, the voice that says, I am not enough. Second, create a distance. Say, I'm noticing the thought that I am not enough. That sentence may sound small, but it moves you from prisoner to witness. Third, tell the truth without violence, not fake positivity. Say, I am struggling, but I am not broken. I made a mistake, but I am not a mistake. I feel fear, but fear is not my master. Fourth, clean the tank. What you watch is water. Who you listen to is water. What you repeat is water. What you call normal is water. If you will not pour poison into a fish tank, stop pouring poison into your consciousness, and then take one clean action. Because healing is not just thinking nicer thoughts. Healing is changing the environment of your mind and then proving a new truth through action. Send the message, take the walk, make the call, write the page, cook the meal, apologize, set the boundary, start the business badly before you keep dreaming about starting it perfectly. Your life changes when your inner voice and your daily actions stop betraying you, because you cannot build a free life from an inner state of constant punishment. You can force success for a while. You can grind your way into money, status, attention, and achievement. But if the voice inside still says you are not enough, no amount of applause will feel like peace. So the work is not only to achieve more. The work is to become a safer place to live inside your own mind. Speak to yourself like someone you are responsible for rescuing, because you are. You are not here to worship your wounds. You are not here to decorate your prison and call it healing. You are here to remember, to create, to experience, to become a clean instrument for truth, love, courage, awareness. So today, stop asking, what is wrong with me? Ask, what have I been living inside of? Because when the tank changes, the fish changes. When the mind clears, the body breathes. When the inner voice becomes truthful instead of cruel, life stops feeling like a battlefield and start becoming a garden. And maybe the most spiritual thing you can do today is very simple. Stop calling yourself names that heaven never gave you. The voices in your head is not always you. Sometimes it is fear. Sometimes it is pain. Sometimes it is conditioning. Sometimes it is an old wound trying to sound like wisdom. Sometimes it is an old wound trying to sound like wisdom. Sometimes it is an old wound trying to sound like wisdom. But you are the awareness that can hear it. And if you can hear it, you can question it. And if you can question it, you can stop obeying it. And if you can stop obeying it, you can begin again, quietly, honestly, today. Because the voice in your head is not just commentary, it is climate. And you are the one who has to live in there. So make it a place where courage can grow. Make it a place where truth can breathe. Make it a place where your life can finally begin again.